Hey everyone, rudyxx here to talk about another RPGalooza game, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII. For those of you that don't know, RPGalooza is a project I started involving playing through a huge list of RPG titles ranging from Western style to Japanese. And while I'm not a huge RPG connoisseur, I do like to dabble in them every now and then. So hopefully I can provide for you all a more modern day gamer's look at my experience with them. And with that out of the way, on to Crisis Core. This is another game for the RPGalooza list that I've unfortunately already played a few times over. I'm well antiquated with the speedrun as well, so new player annoyances like dealing with the roulette wheel weren't really an issue since I know how to turn it off at this point. So having already played it, I decided I would at least try to do something new with this playthrough, and decided I'd try to unlock all the bonus battles that come from doing all the bonus missions related to them. I did a few of them, but after a while it started to become somewhat of a pain to do any of them because all the side missions are the exact same 5 areas with the exact same enemies that deal slightly more damage in each iteration. There's very little variety in the side mission stuff. So after about 30 or so of them, I basically gave up on that goal. Ignoring that fiasco though, the game is pretty fun. It definitely can get very repetitive, and the roulette wheel can definitely get annoying if you have it on all the time, but the pacing of the game is such that it never really reaches a point where anything starts to get boring or feel like a chore to deal with. For the most part, the music in the game is good enough that it keeps the mood of the game feeling smooth, despite the fact that many of the tracks are just repeated constantly. And despite the number of times you might hear certain themes over and over again, they always get you pumped or crying or whatever the situation calls for, which if anything is just how this game is in general. Every single aspect of it is incredibly repetitive, but only barely just approaches the line of becoming stupid before moving on to something else. Each character in the game is unique and interesting, and with the constant introduction of new characters or familiar faces from Final Fantasy VII, it keeps the flow really well. For RPGalooza, I decided to give it a score of 7 out of 10 for being an enjoyable experience despite how repetitive the game it really is. And like I mentioned earlier, it's probably a good thing for me at least that I know a fair amount of the speedrun so that my experience with the game wasn't a drag, but I definitely can see people struggling with things like the DMW constantly going off or the shoddy controls that would ruin a person's first experience with the game. For a PSP game, they really did the best they could with the controls, but if you're not used to them, they feel incredibly clunky to work with at times. The limitations on things like how many actions you have available to you is kind of a drag, but they balance the game well enough that it's probably for the best. So anyways, my experience with Crisis Core for RPGalooza was a pretty good one overall. If you enjoyed this video and would like to look forward to many more RPG reviews in the future, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in seeing me actually play through a variety of games in real time, make sure you follow my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/rudyxx. Thanks for watching and see you next time.